If you're a business leader, you may not know the difference between a managed service provider and a managed security service provider. So they're both forms of IT outsourcing, but they have two completely different goals. The goal of the managed service provider is to keep the lights on, to keep the IT working and minimize downtime. The goal of the managed security service provider, it could be the same company, it could be separate, we'll talk about that in a moment, but their goal is to stop you having cyber incidents, and if you do have a cyber incident, getting you up and running again as quickly as possible. Now, in the age of AI and cyber threats, it's moving very, very quickly, and it's very, very difficult for me as a technology professional, even though I've got extensive amount of experience, to keep on top of all this stuff. So what does it mean for you? How do you decide what you need to do? Well, I think part of the problem is that in the corporate world, you'd obviously just have separate teams. But in a smaller business, you may, in some cases, just have the IT guy, and that's all you have. That's all you have to work with. And it's very, very difficult because from my point of view, because I both have my foot in support and in cyber, my master's is in IT security, so I do understand about it, but it's very difficult because you get spread very thin, and the risk is that you're pulled in the wrong direction, that you prioritize making things work over keeping them secure. So as much as we can, and it's still early days, we're trying to build in everything that my team do, best standards, best practices, and eliminate processes which don't follow best practice. Because ultimately, it's much easier to put a process in place that reduces risk than it is to try and mitigate that risk later on using other controls. So if you think about it, there's two different things that we've got. We've got policies. Don't share your password as other people. Don't set your password as password 1 exclamation mark. And then you've got tools that we can both block people from doing that and also detect when they've done that. I've got a video coming up about that. But the point is that maybe as a small business, you need to look at having a combination of both. And I work for various different MSPs and MSSPs, and as both a technical advisor and sometimes as a vCIO, that is a virtual chief information officer or virtual chief information security officer. So I get pulled in lots of different directions, as I mentioned. But there aren't many people that have the breadth of skills, and it's really important that somebody is checking the homework. So I try not to do everything. It's fine for like a tiny business, but when they get a bit bigger, it's really, really hard because you're pulled in multiple different directions. And really my role is oversight. So if you're MSP, and I've spoken to a few people, they said, we're not sure our MSP is doing a great job. Do check out my Secure My Emails tool. That'll give you an idea if things are being done well. Because it's one of those things where, you know, if you go to a building site and there's piles of rubbish and bits of plastic flying around in the wind, you know that it's not being managed very effectively. And the same is true with the email configuration. If it's misconfigured, we know that probably the IT is not being managed properly. If you go into the comms cabinets and they're complete spaghetti wires everywhere, we know it's not being managed properly. So you can see these things. You don't need any technical skill to do that. But the purpose of this video really is to get you guys thinking is am I putting all my eggs in one basket? Do I need to bring in some specialist help to make sure that what's being delivered is what I need? And that doesn't need to be really, really expensive, by the way. And I think most MSPs will welcome somebody to come in and go, oh, are we doing a great job or not? And also you can spend a hell of a lot of money on tools that don't really deliver value because you've left big gaps in your configuration. So it's not easy, but I think at the moment, it's about having the right skill mix. And if you've got concerns, do get somebody to check it. That's all for today. If you've got any thoughts, ideas, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. I look forward to speaking to you soon. Do get in touch, and don't forget, comment on the videos, because if you comment on them, they get a lot more views. And obviously, I want to try and get out and reach people that maybe are struggling with cybersecurity, don't know where to turn. Thanks very much. Speak to you soon.